What could you give a 40-minute presentation on with absolutely no preparation? How to be awkward for 40 minutes. Procrastination. But I should warn you, it will begin with a 39-minute demonstration. Pretty much anything. I'll awkwardly ramble about something and end up talking about stuff that's nothing to do with the original topic, but I'll keep going with it because I'd be too awkward to stop, and then before I've realized it, I've completely forgotten the whole point of the situation, and I'm no longer talking about one single topic but multiple topics, just going from one to another. And I've been realizing this will try to get back to the original topic I chose, but getting back to that topic will take a while because as I head back to it I'll end up going down random brain pathways and get distracted by little details, which is one reason why I suck at telling stories, because I end up giving too much detail about things that don't really matter to the story, or I end up giving huge backstories to explain points that I could easily explain in a sentence, but I don't want to leave people confused about ideas, so I just do it anyway. But these backstories and details often have extra backstories and details buried within them that I also end up rambling about, which takes me further away from the original point I'm making, in a similar fashion to Zeno's paradox, where I can't talk about point A because I need to explain point B first. But to understand point B in my mind, I need to completely explain point C. Point C is actually a pretty simple point to explain, but out of nowhere I randomly think point D is also useful to explain point B, so explain that, and thus the cycle continues with the original idea, point A, never actually being discussed but narrowly hinted at, and before I know it I've filled the entire 40 minutes talking about absolutely nothing, where neither the audience or myself can really remember what I spoke about, but all we do know is that it was a mess. But at least I filled up the time. TLDR, judging by the length of your reply, I'll go ahead and assume you're correct. My cat's deep Halo history. Already done it once. Describing the 100,000-year backstory to my 3-mo daughter after the wife said she likes when you talk to her. I got up to the events of the first Halo Wars before my wife decided enough was enough. Mythology or conspiracy theories? Conspiracy theories for sure. I miss pre-social media ones though. Back when you could say cattle mutilations are up, and riff on that for a while. Pokemon LOL. Star Trek, The Next Generation. In the past this has happened when I've been drunk enough, and is a sign I need to go the fuck home. How to bullshit through a presentation, a comprehensive guide with examples. WW2 history easily. Anything in Russian. I'm fluent and nobody would be able to understand me. Any tips for a guy who just started learning Russian? Forget grammar. We'll understand it anyway. Learn grammar later on. As a teacher, name your subject. I can do it. World history starting in 1660. 'Twas a dope time for all English citizens. Listen now as I paint a tale of colonization, dehumanization, domination, and recently suspended jackfoolery over which method an Englishman chooses to worship his imagined creator in. Bonus round. How everyone else subject to the whims of a state literally too fractured to even properly fracture, continued getting reamed in the name of imperialism. And in one case, a particularly out-of-date papal proclamation that somehow still applied to a series of Nazi-Catholic monarchs. My dog. His family history. His preferences. His temperament. His color pattern. There's lots to tell. I would like to attend this lecture right now. Esperanto. I've been studying it for the past better part of a year now, and it's so much fun. College Molich. Super lame but fanfiction. Start with a basic introduction, a little bit of history, fanfiction specific subgenres and cliches, trends that came in and out of fashion over the years, cultural influence, fanfiction specific terms, subcultures associated with different fanfiction or fanfiction adjacent sites. Do I only have 40 minutes? I have to say I was annoyed when my stuff was thrashed after FF.net changed to minimize MA content. On how anti-vaxxers and flat earthers are wrong. Everything wrong with the live-action Aladdin movie. The main focus would be on how they did Jafar wrong, but there'd also be a lot of emphasis on how badly mangled the writing in general was. On the events that led to r_anime_titties become a respected world news sub. Go for it, because I have no clue how that happened, and I am also like 90% sure I am banned. I would like to hear this information. Basically, repeated karma farming on our world politics and its mods being unwilling to do anything about it eventually caused people to go haywire and post hentai, porn and memes, a trend pioneered by one of anime_titties' future moderators. No less. This sub was then created as an ironic mirror to this chaotic situation. And the mods actually intend to keep its standards high and moderation perfectly serious. Formula 1 racing. Been watching for 15 years. Years 1900 to 2000 are geopolitical anomalies around the world. Geographic nerd, don't ask. Mozart Challenger accident Ehlers Danlos Chiari malformation. Love the username my fellow zebra. Yes, it absolutely does. I like how your post starts with Mozart and ends with Chiari. Something tragically poetic about that. I'd give you an EDS high five, but we'd probably both dislocate something. Automotive oil additives. Cafe credits. And why the 10k mile oil change is absolute bullshit that only serves to lower total fleet emissions for manufacturers. Are you saying we need oil changes more often or less often? More frequent oil changes. Who says 10k for an oil change? My car won't even let me go 5k without giving me a warning. It depends on the year of manufacture ultimately. Many late model cars have a 7,500 to 10,000 mile service interval. Trauma-informed care positive behavior supports basically social worker stuff. Same. I used to teach mental health first aid. And even though it's been a while, I could probably just go into autopilot. LAX. LA Airport. Because I literally have to turn in a 40-minute presentation tomorrow, and it's been all I've done. Apart from sleeping and eating the past 4 weeks. Ooh, what about the airport? Like, flight patterns, or the passenger experience inside? I love flying. I used to fly 100 plus flights per year for work, and I haven't flown at all in 2020. Good luck on your presentation. Literally everything. From aviation, ground handling and non-aviation to terminal structure. Current projects like the new concourse and the different services at the airport. Ground transportation, important targets and airlines. Feels like I've been there by now, and I haven't even been to the US ever. Greater than I love flying. I used to fly 100 plus flights per year for work, and I haven't flown at all in 2020. Considering I'm interested in study tourism, traveling has been my semester break activity for like 6 years now. This year is probably a down year though. Thanks a lot. Knitting, quilting, 1918 influenza and smallpox. Oh, and serial killers. Punctuation. Please do this. Many people, especially on Reddit, need serious help with their punctuation, not to mention other aspects of writing. And your knowledge would be helpful. Meme of guy pointing indignantly into his palm to demand money. It took me a second to realize your writing was sarcastic, ironic. I was trying to formulate a reply that corrected you without being insanely insulting. Backpacking, camping. This would definitely be mine. Battle of Jutland. I would need to cut some material myself. Musicals. Literally. I can ramble for hours. Give me some Phantom of the Opera. Love Never Dies. Sister Act. Secret Garden and the 1998 Cats movie, and you got me talking for a week minimum. I can go on about how Rent is a wonderful musical with a shitty message. Like the whole thing could have been great if the message was fix the system instead of fuck the system. Monsieur. Video game lore. Zelda. Final Fantasy. Xenoblade, even some fucking Terraria mods. It'd happily go off for hours. Butt stuff, autoimmune diseases, laughing face, interesting stuff. What's your topic? Up. This is extremely boring to most other people, but a topic I love, and that's German-American immigration to the U.S. Settlement patterns to modern American demographics. As a descendant of German immigrants to Texas, it's definitely not boring to me. Cool. One Piece LOTR Metal Gear Mixed Martial Arts Process Validation for Medical Devices. I did just that back in 8th grade on Pirates because I was hooked on them because of AC Black Flag. I ended up getting a lower grade than I should have because I went over the 20-minute limit, but my parents argued against it because I was the only person presenting that day, so there was no real reason to drop my grade. Despite it being a real presentation, I didn't do a whole lot of preparation beforehand because I'd already studied a shit ton months before when Black Flag released. Music theory, competitive Smash Bros, my dog, the making of my favorite cult classic movies. Well, I am a math teacher, so I could give impromptu lessons on multiple things. My favorite are special right triangles. Astronomy. I asked my dad this one and he replied, my kids. Cute. Plane crashes. Computers. Classic rock bands. Neon Genesis Evangelion. I just rewatched the TV series EOE and the Rebuild films. I also read a bunch of articles and watched a lot of video essays that analyze the series. So for my presentation, I could honestly just spend most of the time explaining Evangelion in general. Classical music. Am high school teacher. This is my superpower. I could talk for a few hours about plate tectonics without any prep. The use of social media in criminal investigations. Also, the history of baseball. Why Tupac is still alive. I don't actually believe this anymore, but in high school I presented this to X in different classes. I gave a very similar presentation my freshman year of college on why the Paul is dead theory is bogus. I did not need to do much research beyond citing quotes, haha. Given that Harry Potter is my first thought to this, I'm going to go and reevaluate my hobbies. The plot of Kingdom Hearts, at least for half of it. On the music I love. And cats. The 2004 Phantom of the Opera movie with Emmy Rossum and Gerard Butler. I had no friends in school when I was 13. And the first time I watched it I was hooked. For 10 months I'd watch it literally every single evening. Then twice or 3 times a day, Saturdays and Sundays. I had a problem, monsieur. But how would you rank it compared to the 25th anniversary recording? Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.